Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and I'm sporting summer head cold already. Gosh, it must be summer because usually when the seasons come, I get some kind of an allergy or head cold or something. So it's got to be officially summer. So I'll do the best I can without sniffling too much here and losing my voice. So good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us. And good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Yeah, it's evening in Australia, we decided, right, Justin? Okay, so good evening out there if you're watching out that way. Of course, we're streaming live. Also catch us on Spectrum 1301 throughout the week at 2 and 8, and you can hear us on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. So good afternoon for folks that are joining us on the radio. Thanks for listening. Okay, well, got a bunch of things to share with you today, but I want to give you a little teaser. Today's show is one of those shows that's not only informative, but it could save your life in the long run. So I want to encourage you to stick around. And if you can't watch the show right now, catch us up later. I want to remind you also, it's a call-in show. And if you have a question for my guest, myself, you have an announcement, anniversary, your club or organization is having some kind of a fundraiser, give us a call, 716-753-5225, or you can email us at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com. Okay? You might say, well, I'm shy to call in. Don't be shy. Randy takes the calls, and he'll let me know when there's a call and we'll get you on, or just leave a message and he'll get it to me as well. Okay? We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're everywhere in the world. So catch up with us any way you can. And people do that on a regular basis. I can tell that we're slowly coming out of this COVID blur, and I'm getting more and more announcements, so we're going to share those in a little bit. Okay, a few things I want to talk to you about. Last week, we had a great time. I think, at least I did, and I think the guys did. We went to see the Tarp Skunks opener at the Russ Dietrich Jr. Stadium there, baseball stadium. And I'll tell you, for the price of a ticket and the entertainment of watching the Tarp Skunks play, it was great. Those guys were making double plays, and they were hitting Ball's way out into the field. I mean, it sounds pretty preliminary what I'm talking about here, pretty basic, but I mean, it was real good baseball. And the team they were playing, they gave them a really hard time, the Batavia team there. And so you might check it out. It's a college level baseball, but a lot of these guys will go out into the semi-pros and the pros down the road. And it's got a great history there, and we were happy to be there. That was their 80th anniversary, right? I think it was. Yeah. So baseball has been a big part of our community here in Chautauqua County, and I think it was 1,500 people there that night. It was great, and they got all these promotions, and they got a skunk running around in a big costume and stuff like that. So family entertainment. It was all clean, good stuff, so I encourage you to get out there. Also, probably this is the first time, at least in my TV history here, that I get to announce that today is a national federal holiday. Yes, you got to stay here. You can't leave. Okay, the crew's got to stay. It's not in your contract. So I hear the last back there, and the way the calendar is going to move. So today's a Saturday, so it won't show up again on a Saturday for a few more years. So we don't have to worry about that. But anyways, I think a couple of people say, well, what is Juneteenth? So I pulled this out of the paper just as a little quick thing. It was a bill that was signed the other day, okay, by President Biden, and basically Juneteenth commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Union soldiers brought the news of freedom to enslaved black people in Galveston, Texas. Now, this was 2 months after the Confederacy had surrendered. There was also about 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves in the southern states. So this is the first federal holiday that's been commemorated and established since Martin Luther King Day, Jr. Day. So anyways, I think that's pretty cool to announce that on my show today. So happy Juneteenth, everyone. And I know that is a significant holiday for many folks. I've been talking a little bit about this over the weeks, that in the paper back in May, and I suspect you can find these out in different establishments, but if you're new to Chautauqua County, get yourself a vacation guide. It has various points of interest throughout the area. It has a calendar of events, different things that are going on by month, and if you're looking for something to do, here it is, because Chautauqua County is just brimming with all kinds of activities everywhere. I don't care where you live in Chautauqua County. So if you're looking for something to do, get hold of Vacation Guide. It's got good stuff. One of the things that I've also been noting, now that we're able to open up our county a little bit more every week, it seems, that music is being played more and more and more and more and more. I mean, all my friends that are in the music world, they are playing small venues, larger venues as they go along. And so if you're looking for something to do, music is just about everywhere now again. Not every place, but many places, mostly outside. And today I have the pleasure to be playing again with the Growlers, and we're opening for a very good band. It's sort of a rising big reputation. Are the Probables? They're played up and down the Eastern Seaboard, I believe, and Steve Johnson and company, Ed McKillop and others, folks I know, they'll be playing right after us. So we're opening for them, and we're starting at 1 o'clock. And keep your fingers crossed that the weather holds nice, because it looks a little iffy this afternoon. But anyways, the Probables are having a CD release party there, and it's at the Big Inlet Brewing in Mayville, just around the corner from here, really. All right, so we have some announcements to make, and then we're going to get to my guest. And I mentioned that it's an important show because this time of year people are getting into the water, and we want to make sure you all know the right things to do when you're in the water. And we'll leave it there for now. Okay, Infinity, some of my favorite people in the world. They are doing something called the Ultimate Adventure Challenge. And it starts started the other day, I think June 10th, and is running through August 15th. Calling all adventure lovers, Infinity has just the thing to get you out exploring. Chautauqua County, this summer, you go out and they have these, I think it's 24 different locations, and you go to them, you check it out, you take a picture of yourself, you send it to them, and then you get the special badge that they are promoting, and it's been designed right there by one of the folks at Infinity, Ashley Ordinas, I believe her name is. And if you're interested in becoming part of this project, there's a little fee that you pay, and you can contact Stephanie at infinityperformingarts.org, and or you can talk to Shane Hawkins. So that's Shane at infinityperforming.org. And if you have more questions, you can give a call at 664-0991. Okay, so it's one of those kinds of things like geocaching or touring, a lot like this vacation guide, but they got some really cool sites that you can go to, and some of them I've never heard of, different locations. So, and I'm sure they're four corners or they're little spots throughout the county, but it sounds like a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something to do with your family, that's definitely a family adventure. Okay, let's go to slide 15. We got a chicken barbecue coming up here, and this is for our friends at Prevention Works, who do a lot of good work in the county, working with families and kids. Okay, so what is it? It's chicken barbecue, June 23, from 3:30 to 7 at the Masonic Forest Lodge up East Main Street in Fredonia. It says, come on down to the Masonic Lodge in Fredonia for West New York's famous Chevette's chicken. $12 for dinner, and includes a half chicken, 2 sides, and a roll of butter. Pickup only. All proceeds help support Prevention Works Incorporated. Their mission is to build a safe and healthy environment by effectively educating the community on positive life choices. It's been around since 1974, also known as CASIC. We used to announce all their various activities as well, but now it's called Prevention Works. And if you want more information about the CASIC itself or the chicken barbecue, give them a call at 664-3608 in Jamestown or 366-4623 in Dunkirk. Okay, and that's a chicken barbecue coming up on the 23rd. Okay, there's an artisan market coming up, and let's see here. The Mayville Chautauqua Community Chamber of Commerce, with the cooperation of the Village of Mayville, has brought a new farmers and artisans market to the Village Park, located at the traffic light at 394 and 430. That's just like right over there. A ribbon cutting ceremony will be held on Thursday, June 24th at 12:30 p.m. during the lunchtime. No, wait. During the lunch. That's it. It's kind of odd. There's going to be music. It kind of breaks off, and there's another line. The market is being held every Thursday through September 30th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Rain or shine, the market features local farmers and artisans with focus on all things locally grown or handmade. Also available at the market are weekly food options from local food trucks, homemade baked goods, a rock painting table for the CLCS, Chautauqua Lake Central School, PTC, in coordination with the Mayville New York Rocks Project, as well as lunchtime music from noon to 1 p.m. The Mayville Chautauqua Community Chamber of Commerce has a table on site to promote upcoming events and provide information or answer questions. For a weekly listing of vendors, our lunchtime music as well, on updates on the market, you just go to Facebook at Mayville Farmers Artisan Market. True. Okay, so that sounds kind of cool. So that starts Thursday, June 24th. Sounds like a good time. If you haven't been to a farmer's market in the county, it's really good stuff. Got to get lots of fresh vegetables and fruits right from the local farms. Good stuff. All right, haven't heard from these folks in a while. Panama Rocks. Let's get that slide up there, Jeff. Panama Rocks was included in a $40 million New York tourism promotion campaign. Okay. This past Monday, Cuomo, governor, announced that Panama Rocks will be included in this major campaign. Let's see, it says here, according to the governor, We have a beautiful upstate New York that has still not been fully explored and fully discovered. I also think we have an opportunity because we have the lowest positivity rate in the nation. You want to travel this summer, you want to travel safe and go to a place that you know is safe from COVID, and that is the state of New York. And according to Jonathan Weston, who's been a guest here before, we are very pleasantly surprised by this announcement. John is the manager of the Panama Rocks. We did not know that Panama Rocks would be included in this campaign, but we are incredibly grateful to be part of this effort to promote tourism in New York State. Now, if you're not familiar with Panama Rocks, let me tell you a little bit more. Panama Rocks has received increased attention in recent years, especially now that guests can share their experience online. Since 2011, Panama Rocks has consistently been listed as TripAdvisor's #1 ranked attraction in Chautauqua County, and 2019, Inspire Rock, the world's largest online trip planning service, listed Panama Rocks as the #1 ranked trail in New York State based on independent guest reviews. How cool is that? People are usually surprised at how much there is to explore when they visit Panama Rocks for the first time, and then again when they visit the second time, said Weston. We are often told that the park reminds guests of scenes from Jurassic Park or The Hobbit. Panama Rocks is truly unique in that it's a place where both kids and adults have fun exploring and reconnecting with nature. So, Panama Rocks, you can check them out on Facebook. You can look them up in the phone book. They're everywhere. But I'll give you the phone number anyways. 716-703-0021. And talk to John Weston. And you tell him that Doc said so, because I've been there with my family, and it is very, very cool. All right, moving along. Let's see here. Positive Parenting Program. Okay, this is from Prevention Works. Let's see here. It says, we're offering in-person classes from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. virtually, or 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in person. Triple P discussion groups. Triple P is a great opportunity to meet with other parents in similar situations. Other parents who will support you and share stories just like yours. The topics include dealing with disobedience, managing fighting and aggression, developing good bedtime routines, hassle-free shopping with children. Okay, and this is going to be on July 6th and 7th, July 13th and 14th, July 27th and 28th, August 3 and August 4. To register, whether virtual or in person, you can give Amy Beto a call at 366-4623 at Prevention Works Presents. Okay, and these are always free of charge. And, you just might say, I'm at my wit's end. I need some information. I need some help. Check it out. Prevention Works. All right, and finally, we've got to mark your calendar. There it is. For those of you who are listening on the radio, we got a cowboy on a Bronco horse there. I don't know what you call him. A Bronco. Anyways, Gary Fire Department has voted to open the gates for their 76th annual PRCA, which I think stands for Professional Riders Association, rodeo for 4 performances, August 4 through 7. Mark your calendar. Rodeo, Gary, 4 through 7th of August. Rodeo Chairman Tom Atwell says that the decision is due to restrictions related to the pandemic slowly being lifted, making it possible under state regulations at that time to safely bring professional rodeo back to the area after a year's absence under state regulations in effect at that time. If you remember watching last year, the guys were here. We talked about the rodeo. They could only sell food that day as a fundraiser, and that was their 75th bummer. But this year's their 76th, and they're going ahead. So let me just tell you, they got Painted Pony Championship Rodeo of Lake Lucerne, New York. Will again be bringing more than 100 head of stock to challenge the more than 200 contestants. I didn't realize there was that many. From across the country who will be competing for $50,000 in prize money. Justin, lunch money. No? A new event, Cowgirls Breakaway Roping, is being added to the 7 traditional events. Saddle bronc, bareback bronc riding, tie-down roping, steer wrestling, it's like me, my dog, team roping, bull riding, and cowgirls barrel racing. Okay, Greg Simis, one of the nation's top rodeo announcers, who is presently announcing rodeos across the Southwest, is returning for his 9th year to keep the action moving in the arena from his seat on horseback. According to the festivities, adding to the festivities is the return of the Rodeo Hall of Fame funny man Keith Isley, who has been named Comedy Actor of the Year on numerous occasions. Crown favorite bullfighter Phil Hussman will again be risking his own safety to protect the Cowboys in the bull riding. Okay, so if you're interested, you can go to their website, GaryRodeo.org, or you can give them a call at 985-4847, or this is 800 number, 888-985-4847. If you haven't been to the Gary Rodeo, you're missing something. So we'll be talking about that some more, and we got the guys coming in July to be on the show. All right, got to take a break. This is for you. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
The strength of our country hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together in our toughest times. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during our nation's toughest times.
It's what the Legion's all about.
We are the American Legion, Veterans Strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
Okay, and I am pleased to welcome back Ro Woodard, who this is your third time here.
Third time, absolutely, yeah.
And you keep coming back, so great. I mentioned that today's show can save someone's life. True or false?
I believe it's true.
I think it's true.
Yeah, I believe it could be true.
I think that too many people come to water, whatever water that is, and they underestimate it. And so we're going to talk about water safety. We're going to talk about boating safety. We're going to talk about all things water, right?
All things water.
Okay.
Nothing nicer.
So first, for those that maybe don't know you, just kind of give us the elevator speech. Who's Ro Woodard?
The elevator speech.
We know that you're retired. we know that.
Which is great, because then you can do all the kind of things like this. I would never get a chance to talk with you if I weren't retired. I was with the state for about 17 years as boating safety educator with New York State Parks Marine Services Bureau. And once I retired, I had the opportunity to return back to my hometown of Falconer. And beautiful Chautauqua County, we just heard all kinds of cool things that are going on in the county, and I'm pleased to be home and be able to take part in all those things.
So, growing up in Faulkner, how did you have this dream that I'm going to be a water safety instructor? I mean, how does that happen?
I've always liked water. Walking to school in Falconer, if you're familiar with Falconer at all, there's the Chautauqua River that runs. It's the outlet of Chautauqua Lake, runs right through town. So wherever you're going, you're crossing bridges, and the river is there. We have a little brook that comes into the Chautauqua, which is called Moon Brook. It comes from Falconer Park and runs through the town again. So there's water all around, and anybody who's a native of Falconer has played in Moon Brook. It's a long-term tradition. When I was about 6th grade, my dad bought a boat, from Vic Norton boat livery in Bemis Point. He was selling off some lovely Cayuga motorboats as part of his livery, and my dad bought one. And so we boated every summer from then on Chautauqua Lake, and just loved it. Had the opportunity to go to Girl Scout camp, and camp is the place where a lot of kids are introduced to the water, and there got into canoes, and was fortunate enough to be lucky to be hired by the state to do something I loved.
Very cool. Okay. So I have some opening questions for you.
Okay, well we'll try to give you some good answers.
Okay. So because my guests come on the show, I'm in tune to various topics. So not so long ago, we were at a get-together on the lake, Chautauqua that is, and some of the kids jumped on paddle boards. And those are the stand-up type things for those that may are not familiar. They look like they're Hawaiians, right?
Yeah. You need the shirt to go with it, too.
And I said to some of the adults, because they were younger folks that went on the paddleboards, shouldn't they have life jackets? And they just sort of shrugged their shoulders. So, what's the rule of thumb on paddleboarding?
Well, there's rule of thumb, and then there's legal pieces.
Let's hear it all.
And then there's good sense. And we boat for fun, and your folks were out there with the paddle boards, looking to have fun.
Right.
And one of the things that's big with me is the life jackets. I was actually the life jacket educator for the state, and I spent a number of years just saying, if you can listen to 4 words I have to say, you'll be safe. Wear your life jacket. In terms of legal life jacket wear for your paddle boards, and paddleboard folks, that's come on the scene a few years ago and just exploded. People love them. But paddle boards are a boat, so they fall under all of the New York State navigation laws.
Wow.
And so basically they will have to have a life jacket on board. Yeah. And if the person who is using the paddleboard is under the age of 12, they have to be wearing their life jacket. That's New York State navigation law.
Okay.
If you're over the age of 12, you're supposed to have it on board, and it's supposed to be readily accessible. Now, on a paddleboard,
there's not a lot of places to put it.
There's not a lot of places to keep it on.
You almost have to
keep it
strap it on or
from.
something.
Well, it's not readily accessible if it's strapped on.
Uh-huh.
If you've got bungee cords or something and you ram it under there, it's not readily accessible because you have to pull it out of those bungee cords. So really, in terms of the paddleboard, this is not navigation law, but it's good sense, it's good safety sense, is put that life jacket on.
Yeah.
Paddleboards, it's easy to fall off.
Well, that's what I was thinking of. Out of all the things that are out there, that one seems kind of dangerous to me.
Absolutely, and it's tough to get back on, depending on your physical abilities.
I can't even get on to begin with.
That's some of us it's a little more challenging to get back up if you fall off. And when we boat, we often, actually I believe this is true. When we boat, we never intend to be in the water, so that we don't think about what are the consequences if we end up in the water. And so you get on your paddleboard, you're having a great time. You never think about falling in the water. With the paddleboard specifically, and this is, I'm glad you brought that up because that's probably one of the safety areas that people don't have enough information on, is you fall off, and if you fall off, you're probably going to kick it out of the way.
Oh, so it shoots like a rocket.
So now it's going to be scooting away from you, and if it's been sudden, maybe you've left your hands and your paddles disappeared, and now you're in the water, and your board is over here, and your paddle's over here, and you're probably missing your hat, and you're going for that first. And you may have been startled. You may have gotten your head under the water, and so now you're coughing and spitting. And that kind of creates an emergency situation.
Yeah. And for those that are not familiar with paddleboards, they have little rudders.
They're
little fin type things.
Yeah.
And they cut through the water really fast.
Yeah. And that's what keeps them to tracking, to make them go straight.
So if you fall off, that's like, just takes right off onto its own.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so
the good advice is wear your life jacket. Have it on and have it properly on. Life jackets, talk life jackets a little bit more. We'll go into there. The life jacket is the vest type is probably the kind you want to choose. If you've got a paddleboard or if you've got a kayak, if you've got a small sailboat like a Sunfish, if you have a canoe, they fit very nice. They're a little more expensive than some of the cheapy boating ones.
All right, so when you say expensive, what are we talking?
This one that I have here is probably around $100.
Okay, my life, $100.
Pretty cheap insurance.
Seems like a cheap insurance. Yeah.
Pretty cheap insurance. And if you're wearing it, you're using it. How much did you pay for your shoes? How much did you pay for your sweatshirts or whatever? What's nice about this is there's adjusts on the shoulders, there's adjusts on the sides, and then there's an adjust at the bottom. So you can put this on and you can get it right to your body, and it can be nice and comfortable, and it can fit your body type. And once you put it on, you might never feel like you've got something on once you get used to it. It's not like some of the inexpensive boating jackets that will ride up on your shoulders and make it easy to say, I don't want to wear this. It's not like the old horse collar ones that you probably wore at summer camp.
Oh, yeah.
Which work great, but they're not real comfortable.
Right.
This will be real comfortable, and you can put it on and wear it and be safe. And if you have that accident, you're out having fun on the paddleboard, all of a sudden, whoops, you're in the water, you're floating. If you've thought about this after maybe watching the show, maybe practicing in a swim area or somewhere close to shore, is, once you fall, realizing keep your hand on your paddle and maybe, get your hand out right away to catch your boat so that you've got everything.
I see you have, is that a whistle?
I've got a whistle, yeah. There we go. Your legal requirements, going back to some navigation law for New York State, is that on your boats you have to have your life jacket, and you also have to have a sound signal device, which a whistle meets the requirements. You could have a horn, pretty hard to put a horn on a paddleboard, but a
Right.
whistle on your life jacket is good. You can have an air horn. Motorboats will have an integral horn just like on your car. And it's for sending signals to other people out on the water. It's also a great emergency tool. That if you've now gone off your paddleboard is scooted in one direction across the lake, and your paddle has gone elsewhere, you can then whistle for help. And there's a signal that's 5 or more short blasts in the series. So 5 blasts, toot, 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 little pause, 5 more toots. That's the sign, the navigation whistle signal for danger, or I don't understand your intent. But if you're an educated boater, then if you hear that, you're thinking, somebody needs some help. I got to look around and see where somebody is. The whistle, you can whistle a lot longer for help than you can yell. And yelling sometimes is hard to know, are they just having a good time because you're in the water yelling and screaming and jumping up and down, or you're yelling and screaming because you're in the water and need help.
Absolutely.
So the whistle, if you hear the whistle, people think, maybe I got to pay attention, something going on.
Okay.
And you don't. Not everyone has to have one on their life jacket legally, but each boat needs a sound signal. But I like to put one on the life jacket. I think it's another, just like choosing to wear your life jacket is good safety sense. Choosing to put your whistle on your life jacket is also, again, good safety sense.
Let's tie in kayaks, because I know we announced, a few weeks ago that there's 5 new kayak launches, and with the pandemic, I'm positive kayaking blew up as well.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about kayaking, the rules of the water, life jackets, everything.
Okay, and kayaking certainly a great way to social distance. Most kayaks are one person to a kayak. You can get out and enjoy. It's great to have the launches. Chautauqua County in general has great places to go out in a kayak. Again, you want to think safety. That kayaks, if one person needs a life jacket. If you have a 2-person kayak, 2 people required. If you got a motorboat, skipping back into that again, and you can bring 6 people. If 6 people are on board, guess how many life jackets you need?
One for everybody.
One for everybody, which is 6. Your life jacket in your kayak, once again, this is a kayaking life jacket. Lots of adjustments. I can put this on and it fits like a glove. Feels comfortable. I feel kind of naked in a boat if I don't have my life jacket on, and I've heard other people say the same thing. They've gotten used to wearing them. All those adjustments make that good fit. And the other is that it has a higher back than the front. And that will fit behind the seat on the kayak. So most kayaks have a bit of a seat or a band in the back.
Gotcha.
The longer boating life jackets will touch that seat and then push up and
yeah.
come up over your ears. And you may have seen people out on the water with it up here, and they'll say, "Oh, it's uncomfortable. It's up on my face," because they've chosen the wrong life jacket for their boat. So a nice kayaking life jacket is comfortable. Having your whistle, some of the other pieces once you go out, it's always a good idea to go with somebody. Lots of people like to go solitary. If you're going to go solitary, make sure you leave a float plan, which I'm going to leave home. I'm going to kayak by myself. I'm going to go up to the outlet, and I'm going to leave a message or a written instructions with somebody who wants me to return. So leave it with my husband, or leave it with, leave it with somebody who wants you to return. I guess that's the best way to say it. But where you're going, when you plan to return.
What are the rules of the water for kayaking? I know, for instance, and we haven't even touched on them, but motorboating have their set of rules. What's the rules for kayaking out on the lake?
Well, it's interesting with the navigation rules. If you're in a motorboat, is that you have particular ways that you approach other boats for who has the right of a way.
Right.
Who's the stand on, who's the give way, who moves out of the way if two boats are approaching each other. Ironically, with non-mechanized boats, so your kayaks, canoes, paddle boards, pedal boats, they don't fall in any of the navigation rules that are federal rules or state rules. So we kind of, as kayakers, need to stay out of everybody's way technically. That's our safety piece. When I want to go out boating, I want to make sure I come back so I can boat the next day. So I'm going to be very cautious. In general, if you have informed boaters, they can approach the navigation rules with a kayak the same as motorboats. But not all motorboats know the rules. So that I like to encourage all kayakers, look out for your own safety. If it's a big motorboat day and there's motorboats everywhere, you're up in Bemis Bay and there's 1,000 boats out there having a good time, that's probably not the day to take your kayak out.
Or go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or stay close to the shore and make sure that you take care of your own safety.
Mm-hmm. Huh. We're kayaking. Do they roll over easy, or?
Yes, no, maybe.
I'm not that familiar with the long-term history of kayaking. I've been in a kayak, but I just don't know, what's going on out there in the world.
Yeah, any small boat can tip over if the conditions are hostile, or if the operator is doing something that is unfriendly to the use of the boat. Different styles of kayaks, some of them are much more stable than other kayaks. If you're looking to kayak and get into it and you're concerned about stability, the sit-on tops are good because they're almost impossible for you to tip over in those. The sit-inside kayaks, different styles are a little more tender. They can roll a little more easier. But if you're practiced, you should be fine. Again, that's why you wear your life jacket, because things can happen fast. The conditions are such as when you're choosing to go out, you may want to look at the day. And if it's roaring winds and the lake is rolling, maybe you don't want to go out unless you're an experienced person.
Okay.
Your own behavior in the boat. So think about a kayak and you got a cockpit around you.
Mm-hmm.
If you break the plane of that cockpit, so if I'm looking here in my chair and my hat blows off, major crisis in a boating world, my hat blows off and I'm like, oh my gosh, my hat blows off, and I go to go reach it and I break that plane of the boat, you can go right over, and you can go over real fast.
Can you ride it easily?
Well, there's rolling and there's a lot of techniques. Those are high-level skills. Most of us who are out there kayaking are out there for a little fun. We probably do it a couple dozen times a year, if that many. And so that's not a real skill anybody's going to develop. The inexpensive kayaks, which is great. I love, you can be a boater for under $200
right.
now. Are not the kind that you're going to be able to learn to do the Eskimo roll where you
always see those guys in the white rafting and they're flipping over and they bounce back up again.
And they have a skirt on so no water gets in their boat. It's a high level skill. You take lessons. We're looking at people who have gone and bought an inexpensive boat and you're out ready to go and have some fun. If you end up out of it, your boat is going to fill with some water, so it's going to be difficult to manage. If you've got other folks with you, and that's why it's nice to go with a crowd, they may be able to help you get back into your boat and get you towed to shore. That's probably the simplest thing for somebody who hasn't had some lessons. Mm-hmm. There are some techniques where you and I are kayaking and I fall out, my boat fills with water. And by the way, I have my life jacket on, so I'm holding on the boat, I'm happy. I don't have to swim the whole time to stay on top of the water. That's the advantage of the life jacket, is we can get some rescue going. You can grab my boat and we can do what's called a boat over boat. and you would pull my kayak, actually we'd turn my kayak over upside down, because now the water is back in the water, and would pull it over the top of your boat, and the water would drain out because it's upside down.
Okay.
You'd pull it across, roll it back up, plop it down, and then you could hold that, and if I've practiced, then I can get back inside the boat.
Oh, that would not be pretty. I can't even imagine doing that.
It's a skill. It's a skill. It's a lot of fun, and kids who are at camp probably are learning this skill. You can learn this skill through getting lessons through kayaking outfitters or whatever. But it's a lot of stuff to think about. Probably the quick and simple for somebody. We're out there. I dump out of my boat. Is that you tow us all to shore.
I was going to say, start over again.
And start over again. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to swim to shore without your boat.
Yeah.
A person's head just in the water is very hard to see by other boaters. And if your boat is floating over here and somebody's out there, and boaters are some of the best people in the world. If there looks like there's an incident or an accident or somebody in need, boaters will flock to help. So if there's an upside down kayak or somebody has seen you going over, chances are somebody in a motorboat's going to come by. If you've decided, well, I can swim to shore because it's just over here, they're seeing your boat here, you're swimming to shore, they're coming to rescue you, and you could be actually hit by them.
Yeah.
And, we've seen accident reports that fall into that. So stay with your boat, makes you bigger, makes you more visible, and hopefully somebody will come and rescue you. I certainly, as a boating educator, would advocate learning these skills, but they're not always readily available.
Yeah. Okay. Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest today is Ro Woodard, and we're talking boat safety and common sense on the water.
We're just talking life jackets.
Yeah. Okay, next question I have. This came up the other day. For canoe, do you have to register a canoe?
I'd ask you the question, does your canoe have a motor, or are you paddling it?
Paddling.
Okay. If your canoe is strictly paddled, then you do not have to register it. Any boat in New York State which is human powered, so if you've got a kayak, a canoe, a rowboat, a paddleboard, stand-up paddleboard, also a sailboat without a motor, does not have to be registered.
Okay.
As soon as you decide, gee whiz, it's a lot of work to canoe, I'm going to put a little electric motor on this and I can move a little faster, now you have to register it.
Okay. That came up, and I thought that was it. Someone said that they couldn't use their canoe because they hadn't registered yet, and I'm pretty sure there's no motor. So I thought, okay. But
other states do register their non-mechanized boats, but New York State does not at this time.
Okay, last question. This is a hard one, okay? Chautauqua Lake, to my knowledge, is the highest navigable lake in the world, or at least in North America, and it's pretty deep in places. You got Lake Erie, which is one of the most dangerous lakes in the world. You got Bear Lake, Finley Lake, and Cassadaga Lake, which I can't respond to because I'm assuming they're small and safe. So any guidance you can give people that are sitting around watching the show and thinking, I'm going to get out in my kayak, but I've never been there, or I've heard that's a really cool place to go there. Could you kind of give us a little, from your point of view, the safety features of each of the lakes and how to approach them?
Okay.
How's that for a good question?
Oh, that's a
I don't think we've talked.
No, we haven't talked
like
that. That is another good point about when you're choosing to learn to kayak or to begin kayaking, because you can go, like I said, you can go buy a boat relatively inexpensively. I would encourage you to buy a better rather than an inexpensive life jacket. Is next is choosing where to go. One thing that would be good is find somebody who knows kayaking and go out with them to get some information from them. Looking at the safety of where you go, that is a great question, because often people get into trouble because they literally get in over their heads with their choice of where to boat. What you want to look at is there's the wind, water, waves, weather.
Oh, the 4 W's.
Actually, I think, yes.
5 W's.
5 W, water, yes, there's lots of W's, but those are all the things to make consideration of when you're going out. Your water, your general water area. Lake Erie is probably not the place to start. That the waves can be big, they can come in quickly, the weather can change quickly. Chautauqua Lake, depending on where you are, same thing can happen. mentioned Bemis Bay, that sometimes that's a big enough bay and gets enough traffic that the waves, so we get the other W's. Are there waves? And waves can be a result of the wind, or they could be a result of other boats causing wakes that can be unpredictable. You know, the weather. You were wondering today, you know, are you going to be able to play your music outdoors? That's the same thing. Is the weather going to kick up with the wind? Is it going to be stormy? Is it going to be an electrical storm? So you look at those kind of things and base that against your experience. And if you're a brand new kayaker, you want a nice sunny day. You don't want any wind. You don't want big water. You want to be where it's going to be relatively calm. So for Chautauqua County, I love going out on the outlet. You can start at Celeron and go downstream, or you can start at McRae Park and go upstream, because it's relatively flat and protected. It also has a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit for motorboats.
Oh, that's
so
important.
that any boats that are using the outlet will be going slow. So that's kind of a good place to go. You want to look at all those conditions.
When I said Lake Erie was dangerous, I meant that historically large ships have sunken in Lake Erie, and not that people shouldn't go on Lake Erie, because it's a great place to be. But like you say, it changes quick. I mean, I live in Ripley, and I watch the lake from on the escarpment, and you can look out, and it's calm. The next minute, there's whitecaps, and I mean, if I'm seeing whitecaps from 4 miles away, they're pretty significant, right? You know?
Yeah. And probably an example with Lake Erie, it's interesting. I've been down on Lake Erie when I haven't had a kayak, and I'm like, oh, it would be a perfect day. There's not a breath of wind. There's not a wave. It'd be perfect. And then, like you say, there have been days where there's no way you want to be out on Lake Erie as a beginner. State Parks has a marina in the Silver Creek area, and it's on Cattaraugus Creek, and there's a boat launch there. Cattaraugus Creek area, and that's a great place to go for beginner kayakers, because it's protected, and you've got a nice launch. Don't have motorboats going that far along the creek. However, once you're there, you might say, I want to go out to Lake Erie. And I've been on the Cattaraugus Creek in that area, and you can look out and you're seeing the waves and such. And then you need to know you don't go out there. And several years ago there was a young fellow that did drown in that circumstance. They could have stayed in Cattaraugus Creek and enjoyed a nice paddling day and not caused any sorrow.
Yeah.
But they decided they wanted to play out on the lake, and the water was too much for them.
Yeah.
The wind and the waves were not in their favor that day.
Now, I mentioned the other three smaller lakes that are in the county. All the same rules apply, right?
Yep. All the same rules on all the water in New York State applies. And all of those are great lakes. Cassadaga Lake is a fun place to go because you've got the 3 lakes. But if you've got some wind, the waves and the weather on the upper lake, I don't know how they number them, but the upper lake can be pretty big and windy. But you can be in the middle lake and everything's calm and easy. Yeah. So it's making good choices. I think that's the thing. The only reason that most of us boat is because it's fun. Yeah. And because it's fun, we want to make sure that we're doing it safely. A safe day on the water never spoiled anybody's fun. On the other hand, an unsafe day certainly has had huge ramifications for people. Okay.
Before the show, we mentioned a couple things that we were going to talk about, and actually we did a show on the ferry, the Stowe Ferry. So the question is it the Bemis Point Ferry or is it the Stowe Ferry?
It's the Bemis Point Stowe Ferry. It's the Bemis Point Stowe Ferry with its home port in Stowe.
Well, so what's going on with that? Randy's involved with it here and so forth. So what's the update? I know. Well, I won't say anything more. Tell us what happened, because when we did our show, we were talking about when things were going to happen. So things have happened since then.
Absolutely, things are happening, and the visitors and the citizens of the county have embraced the ferry again. We began running again Memorial Day weekend. We had a fabulous opening ceremony on Friday night of Memorial Day weekend in the driving rain. It would have been a dangerous kayaking day, but it was a good day for the ferry. That we had all the politicians and everybody came out, and we did a ribbon cutting rededication. We had the Girl Scouts from Mayville did a flag ceremony in the driving rain and wind with their uniforms on and clear plastic bags over the top. They were fabulous. And since that point, we've had steady ridership. The ferries, we've gotten our repairs, we got our state certification.
Got your anchor.
And we got our anchors. We have 2 anchors.
Oh my gosh, I still laugh about that.
That's one of our fun things, is the ferry can't go anywhere because it's on 2 cables, but we can anchor it if we need to. But yeah, we're back and running and having a ball.
Okay, so let's talk from a safety point of view. You've got people on the ferry. Do they need to wear life jackets?
No, the ferry is certified to run. It's inspected by New York State Marine Services Bureau. The folks that I used to work where I was an educator, I didn't do the inspections, but it's fully safe for people. That's why we didn't run for 3 years. Was they found some issues with the hull that need to be repaired. We've repaired those. In addition to that, we put a new deck on and we painted everything, and it looks nice and spiffy. For safety of our passengers, we do not require that you wear life jackets. We are rated for 50 passengers, and we have a life jacket on board for each of those passengers should an emergency happen, or should somebody choose to want to wear one. We're rated for 9 cars, so we can put 9 cars, of which then 50 people can be on.
That's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a big, I mean, that's a good size piece of boat, ship,
Yep.
whatever. What do you call it?
It's a ferry.
Ferry's not a ship. It's not a boat. It's not a whatever.
Yeah.
It's a ferry. Ferry's
Yeah.
ferry.
Yeah, it's ferry, and we rarely get 9 cars. That we get a steady flow of people coming back and forth between Stowe and Bemis Point, and we get a half a dozen. We get a lot of walkers. We encourage people. Bemis Point is a busy spot, and people will come and look at us, and we'll say, "We're going to ride," and they look at us like, "Do you think we should?"
Is it safe? So how deep is the water underneath there? It's not very deep, is it?
No. If you think about Chautauqua Lake as being the bag tied in the middle, the Narrows where the ferry is the narrowest portion. It's 935 feet and 1/10. So it's a relatively quick trip, about 10 minutes.
And how deep
across?
is the water?
The depth is about 12 feet at the deepest. John Cheney, who was one of the folks who saved the ferry when the bridge came in, and we thought no longer would the ferry be needed as part of the highway system. John was instrumental in keeping things going. Said, if it sinks, you just climb on the car, and you'll be.
Someone says you can walk part of the way. So I suspect if 12 foot was the deepest, probably in the
it is fairly shallow, and it's shallow at each of the ends of it. But in terms of safety, the water just has to be over your nose. So,
really.
We have trained pilots. Our pilots are licensed by New York State, and so we're looking out for everybody's safety also.
Are there conditions that you do not run the ferry?
If it's thunder and lightning,
okay.
Yeah, we'll close down.
Okay, and high winds don't bother you?
Not a problem for us. And again, if it was tornado warnings, that would be a different thing. Because we are basically a part of the tourist fabric of the county, if the weather's lousy, people don't come.
Right.
So we often don't run just because if the weather is lousy, people are not coming for a ride.
Okay. I'm guessing, do we have a caller, Jeff?
Yes.
Oh, they didn't tell me. I heard this sound in my earpiece. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. This is Linda Spalding.
Oh, hi,
Good
Lynn.
morning, Ro. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
It's great to hear all these things about water safety. I love the water and Lake Chautauqua. It's beautiful, and we also have Lake Erie, which I love. Thank you for your guidance, and happy Father's Day, Doc.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to see my kids tomorrow.
Well, have a great weekend and a wonderful Father's Day.
Okay, well then, thanks for calling in then. Take care.
Yeah, bring your fathers out to ride the ferry tomorrow.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
That's a great idea.
Oh, that's a great idea. What time does it start, at 10?
The ferry operates on Friday nights from 5 to 9. On Saturdays from 1 until 9, on Sundays from 1 until 9.
From 1 until 9. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. I hadn't even thought that. So it's just 3 days a week you run it?
We just run on weekends, yeah.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Right.
And we also, if you have special events, if there's something that you're doing that you think the ferry could be part of,
Yeah.
If you contact us through the BemisPointStowFerry.org website, we can accommodate. I'm operating the ferry Wednesday night for Women on Wheels, which is a bicycling group, and their route for the day is going to end with a ferry ride.
That would be fun.
I'm so glad we've got the ferry back. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah. It's been a long time that we haven't had it, right, Lynn?
I'm so happy. Well, have a great weekend.
All right. Thanks a lot, Lynn. Call again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. What's it cost?
What's it cost? A good question. It's donation.
Okay.
The ferry is operated totally with volunteers, and we run totally on the donations and the generosity of our residents and visitors in the
So
county.
nobody's looking over your shoulder if you put in $1 or $5, right?
I have to say that we've done a horrendously expensive repair, and the community has been very generous. Is that basically we're going to be able to probably pay off our bill relatively soon because people are very generous.
So people should think of this as preserving history, preserving a community asset, and a great way to get across the lake fast.
and it's the best boat ride on the
That's
lake.
right.
Yeah.
Best ride on water.
Well, Andy Goodell, our assemblyman,
Yeah.
at the opening had said it was important that we do the repairs on the ferry because it's a piece of history, and once you lose something, you never can get it back.
And we were saying the history goes back to the 1800s, right? Early 1800s, I think.
The ferry itself, as you come and ride it for Father's Day, everyone,
Yeah.
is the hull was built in 1929, so that's the bottom of the boat, and our big repair was to that because the steel was old.
Right.
The deck is brand new. The little houses were built for the centennial in
Right.
in 2011, so it's a real mishmash of things in
But
terms
prior to
of the
that, it was
boat.
like logs strapped together as they were back in the
Oh, yeah.
1800s. So I mean, you were more modern, even if it was in the 20s. But
Yeah.
prior to that, it went way back, I believe.
Yeah, well, and there's been a ferry crossing between between Stowe and Bemis Point since 1811.
There you go.
So 210 years. And that's the historical, the cultural, the social piece,
Yeah,
is
that's huge.
that was the connection. The lake kind of bisects the county, so if you're trying to get from one side to the other, the ferry is fundamental.
Okay, and we got about a minute and a half. How about a plug for the Lawson Center?
Oh, for the Lawson Center. Okay, another one of my boating loves, the
Yeah.
Lawson Center. If you ride the ferry, you can then on the weekend go over and tour the Lawson Center, which is an antique boat museum, and it features the history of boats on Chautauqua Lake, and has some lovely things to take a look at. If you're an old-time boat lover, you'll love the museum. They're open in July on Wednesdays, 1 to 5, and then on the weekends, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday. So it fits real good with the ferry hours. You can ride the ferry, and then you can walk over and see the boat museum.
Is there admission?
There is admission there, and I can't tell you what it is because I forgot to write it down. But there is, well worth it.
Okay.
Well worth it.
And okay, so about a half minute left. How about I'll let you plug whatever you want to talk about good boat safety here.
Just like to see people go out and have a good time. And once again, just wear your life jacket. That would be, if you did that, you would be 80% safer if you have an accident.
Okay. You gonna come back next year? Let's do it.
Sure, why not?
All right.
Why not?
Make it foursome.
You know.
The other day in the Post-Journal, boating guide was in Thursday's paper, all about maintenance and protecting yourself and the boat. So think safety, think boating, enjoy Chautauqua County. We got so much good stuff here to enjoy. Folks, you've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest was Ro Woodard, who's been talking boat safety for the third time in a row. We'll have to make it a four-repeat. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, well, and we'll see you out on the water.
Yeah,
At the
and,
ferry, at the boat museum.
We covered some areas that we hadn't done before, so that's great. But I was really curious about that paddleboarding. That was a new one. All right, folks. Have a great Father's Day weekend. I don't know what I'm supposed to say about dads other than you guys are cool out there, and we're the silent ones, we're the ones that kind of just do our thing, and so I hope you get a restful day and have a cookout or whatever it is. Be safe. Enjoy the weather.